Hi, Tom Donahue for Truth Matters and for Tom Donahue Reports. So glad you can be with us. And I'm filing this report because it's been something that's been troubling me for a while. And I look at Donald Trump, and he's supposed to be the builder. He's supposed to be, someone that could be kind of the architect of good things to build and to construct rather than deconstruct, rather than demolish and destroy. And you look at the White House and what's happening with this ballroom, they say it may take 2 or 3 years to complete this construction and take away the actual destruction, to deconstruct or to destroy the White House, which is our house and not his house, and to not seek permission or consultation with the Congress or with the American people at large, really. And you look at his presidency in this second term, and he's taking a wrecking ball to the Constitution, a wrecking ball to our alliances, a wrecking ball to MAGA, a wrecking ball to all departments within the government. Now, we knew that other administrations, they had kind of stealthy, kind of secretive ways of influencing, if not trying to order departments. But Trump just comes right out, which I guess we have to thank him for being frank about this and, very direct. But he's just ordering these department heads to do his bidding. There's no independent agencies whatsoever. And you can see this in these cabinet meetings. You can see this in the way they defer and genuflect to tyrant Trump. This dastardly Don is destroying our nation from within. He's tearing down the fabric of this country. But yeah, I'm very upset with the devastation, the destruction, the deconstruction, demolition Don, dastardly Don. He's become a menacing force, a malignant force. His actions are not about America first or making America great again. It's not about protecting our country and our national security interest. It's about whatever Trump wants to do. It's Trump's world and we live in it. It's a reality show. Some say, well, you reported on what the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, had to say, that it's Trump's new old world order, but they don't pull his strings. I don't think there is any person or organization or country that pulls his strings, but he is heavily influenced. Help set up a cryptocurrency company. You flatter him and he will favor you. You vote his way and he will pardon you. It doesn't matter what kind of crime you've committed. Hey, you can be a sex trafficker and get rewarded. And it truly is a reward that Maxwell was transported at the behest of Trump's BOP and DOJ to a cushy, cozy camp that, quite frankly, is typically afforded to the nonviolent, white-collar, first-time offenders. And if you have any violence in your background, and sex trafficking and child sex predators, that is violence. They are never allowed. She's the single and the only case that ever was given this preferential treatment. It's never been done before. This is setting a very dangerous precedent. But now that we see what's happening with the Epstein files and more is coming out, and the Donald is mentioned many, many, many times, it's not just, oh, boys will be boys or just carousing with his best buddy for more than 10 years, Epstein. Some of the allegations, some of the complaints filed are very serious. And I cover so much of that in my podcast, and you can go back to TomDonahueReports.com. I do appreciate all the good research and efforts from Angeline Marie and her reports that she files, along with her insights and her contributions as a co-host of Truth Matters. So we're going to cover more as time goes on. But I just wanted to touch base on this imposter, and he's the hijacker of the America First movement. And he kind of ingratiated himself, insinuated himself in. He's the ultimate hoaxer. Somehow, some way, he's created a cult here, the MAGA cult, But I think the cracks in the MAGA cult are happening. People are now having a reawakening and a discovery that they've been hoaxed, that they've been defrauded, they've been fooled and mocked by Trump. So when Trump calls out there, this is a hoax. No, you are the master of all hoaxes. You have betrayed us. You have defrauded us. You have soiled our reputation because you don't care, obviously, about your own legacy or reputation. You wouldn't be behaving in such a berserk and psychotic and off the rails way. Now, some might want to blame it on Alzheimer's or dementia. But if he is suffering from that, and there are some people that say that he is afflicted with this, he's in the very early minor stages. He has major personality disorders, and we've known that for, whether it's malignant narcissism, just being just so egotistical and so self-centered. We are an abused patient with Trump. We are an abused populace. And, we have got to stand up for what's right and what's just. And if you are not abiding by the Constitution, whether your name is Trump, Vance, Bush, Cheney, Obama, Clinton, we are going to uphold that Constitution. We're going to hold you in account. And we're going to do whatever we can to shine a sterling light so bright that there's no place to hide. You got it? That's what we're doing here. An example of the sheer destruction of Donald Trump. Just look at ICE. You have ICE killing American citizens. Say, oh, well, they were obstructing their work and they blocked traffic and they resisted and they were name calling and if you have a phone and you're recording them, you're in some violation of non-existent law. Well, now that we have U.S. citizens dying, we have federalities invading states. Now, remember, we were all about don't tread on us. We were about states' rights, local community rights, superseding the feds. I do believe that we need strong border enforcement. I do believe, as Trump suggested originally, we go after the most violent criminals and gangs that invaded our country. But there are many, many families that, yes, they broke the law. Yes, they crossed our border. But many of them have not committed any crimes, with the exception of the border crossing illegally. And they were attempting to create a better life. And they've integrated within certain communities. So I do believe, and I suggested this even when I said there needed to be a harsh crackdown, that local communities, if someone has not committed any additional crimes, meaning except for the border crossing, and they've been upstanding citizens, that those community boards should be involved in those decisions. But right now, the violence that Kristi Noem inflicted upon her dog and other animals is the same violence that she and her cohort, and we'll get into Corey Lewandowski at another point, another time, but I did mention in my podcast that Corey Lewandowski, the reason that he's in his position, and the reason that Kristi Noem was appointed by Trump to run Department of Homeland Security was Trump said this in an interview that Corey Lewandowski asked him for only one favor, and that was to hire Kristi Noem. And then she hired him because they have this very cozy relationship that's not really a secret in D.C. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. But these people are bloodthirsty thugs that are in these branches of government. And I'm not going soft on the violent offenders that are non-citizens. I'm just saying that there's got to be some sensible, strategic, and to some degree humane practices and policies, and that states and local governments supersede the power of the federal government, and people are starting to stand up. But Demolition Don, Destructive Don, is a virulent and violent force that needs to be restrained and needs to be subdued. And I mean that in a legal sense. But that's my report on Destructive and Dastardly and Demolition, the Don. So let's end the reign of the Don. So that's my report for this week, filed with Truth Matters and Tom Donahue Reports.